Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with the reigning world champion, the Terran from Team Liquid. In the red, it's Clem. But he's up against the former world champion and the player ranked #1 in the world by Dark. The final boss in the blue. It's Dark. A best of 7 Terran versus Zerg Grand Finals, with Dark being one of an exceedingly small list of players who've actually beaten Clem in an extended series this year, and we'll see if he can extend that to just one more. And speaking of one more, it'd be awesome if you could smash that like button and maybe even subscribe. And Jimmy, what are we at? Okay. All right. 1,500 likes on this video and this cast, and I'll cast another one going into the next year. And I'll probably do it anyways. I don't know what else I'd do with my life. But thank you for tuning in. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far. And I certainly hope that Dark versus Clem will make it just a little bit better. SCV here to maximize scouting? No, early annoyance to block the drone from being able to get the third. Any of the other third base choices on this map are less optimal, to say the very least. And this SCV just swinging around back and forth forces him into the extractor, and now standing guard while the Reaper moves in on the workers. Queen still a while out. Clem has it mapped out perfectly. He knows the Queen's popping out. He's moving away. And now the SCV took a little more damage. Dark has to pop back into the extractor. So Clem starting things off strong with maximum annoyance. Brenda bounce off to the corner. The third base is already delayed past when Clem has already started his third command center. Oh no. Well, Queen trying to sneak up. SCV on patrol. And, well, the Queen's in the way. He goes to the other extractor, and I think for now... Young man, would you stop? Did he get away with it, Susan? He got away with it, Brenda. He always does. Well, this is still happening. The extractor, for the third time, the extractor will be canceled and restarted. The drone will survive. Now a second queen, a third queen is called in, and the Reaper will live. And with a fourth... You gonna say it? No. Well, yep, that's Clem in a nutshell there. As the third base delayed by a full minute by the almost obligatory Reaper. Behind it, Clem already has his starport on the way. He's feeling so safe he's going Viking first, which is quite rare in this day and age. But I think he's so confident with seeing 4 queens, seeing the gas count. Dark is already trying to switch it up. He's got 2 gases at the natural. Where's the Roach Warren? Wait. Mutos? You gotta try something. He's already so far behind. Just because of one Reaper. The Reaper didn't even kill anything. He maybe got... No, he killed nothing. Yet he's done so much damage. Emotionally and physically. Oh my. Dark is going to do a German taxi build against the Frenchman. And German taxis going into French territory via overlords is certainly ripe pastures for any sort of joke. But this is no joke. This is the grand finals of Wardi's Christmas present to us, which was a tournament between the top players. Thank you, Wardi. And now 4 queens with their chauffeur on the way. What? So Clem has gone for about the greediest possible build. He could have gone double NGP. That is the only thing he could have done greedier than what he has now. But he's got 3 CC. He went Viking into Liberator. That means no Cloak Banshee. That means no easy way to deal with this. And now scooch over. It's pretty cool. Oh, well, okay, well, this is awkward. The Dropper Lord is actually faster than the Vikings. Well, is it? Not by much. He's gonna have to drop out the queens and maybe trade it out. He has no creep to transfuse. Well, now this is quite a quandary. He's fighting the Liberator, battling his way out. The transfuses and the queens are making their way across the map. Yes, they had to make a little bit of a pit stop, but he actually shut down the Liberator. And the queens may have to march the rest of the way, but it wasn't going to be easy. Dark only has 40 drones behind this, but the siege tank is only half done. And the queens are on the doorstep. The Ravagers are ready to break down this wall. Mr. Zergachev, tear down this wall. The supply depots could be dropped and repaired to full. The creep tumors are spreading outside the natural. But Dark has claimed this territory. Another volley of corrosive bile. The Zerglings streaming through the siege tank. Now targeted onto the Ravagers, the Queens were taking quite a pounding. 11 SCVs down. He gets in range, knocks out the tank. Viking hits the deck. The creep is now about as far outside Clem's base. He's creeping forward. That was a little bit ambitious. Another Queen assassinated. Gets away, tries to even start salvaging from that, which seems a little optimistic from Clem, who's now being battered down to one bunker. The Stim Marines are trying to hold. The tank on the high ground, gonna stay out of vision range. There's still enough Ravagers to potentially take it down, and he hasn't done enough damage yet. He needs to get in range. 1, 2, 3 corrosive biles, and he knocks out the tank, which means a follow-up attack, as well as the creep still on the doorstep, spreading through the natural, is an existential threat to Clem's unit. He can maneuver around so quickly with the Ravagers and Lynx, and without siege tanks to hold it down. Dark is ahead on supply, 69, now 71, with a nice attack going on so far. And this is exactly what you need to face Clem. You don't need a better shield, you need a bigger gun. And right now, despite the drugs and guns that Clem has brought to the table, Dark hit him with a rocket-propelled, a Ravager-propelled grenade of an attack. He's now got the Evo chambers on the way, but has he done enough? If he can kill this third orbital, well, certainly. That is the main advantage here for Clem, is the 3CC, the fact that mules can help him catch up economically. The fact that Clem survived is a Christmas miracle. Just in the first place here. Dark not quite able to bust through. I think maybe a little inefficient with the Queens, but Clem taking near game-ending damage. And now, a small Zergling drop. These are the little straws that could break this camel's back. As right now, Clem is in an incredibly tenuous position. He, of course, is attacking forward. He has almost nothing at home to defend the uncombat shielded Marines while he moves forward. There are more roaches on the way. He's got speed and 1-1. But 1-1 is already done for the Marines. And they're stimming in. The stutter step is good. Corrosive bile mostly to force him to pick up and move around. The third base under attack by the Zerglings. He's forced to lift up because he's almost in burning range here. The Roaches and Ravagers moving around. One of the medevacs gets taken out of the sky, going back and forth with those medevacs. There aren't enough Queens because of previous activities that we will not mention now, but until Combat Shield is done, even with the upgrades, those Marines can't really trade with the Roaches. They're going to have a tough time. They just can't survive enough hits no matter what your armor upgrades are. Once the Combat Shields are done, it makes it a lot easier to actually fight out the Roaches, but Clem back up to 40-something SCVs, though Dark came back in with another link. Well, tried to get that last SCV, just didn't pan out. Dark still with a supply lead, and Clem, he doesn't have an armory. He's not progressing his tech. There's burrow move on the way for the Roaches, so Dark has another level of progression here past that initial set of upgrades. But Clem is stabilizing. He got knocked so far off balance, but not all the way. Tunneling Claws. Tunneling Claws. I don't know if I've ever seen Serral. Like, for comparison, I don't know if I've ever seen Serral get Tunneling Claws against Clem. But the Ravagers knocking out one of the siege tanks. Dark. Corrosive Bile doesn't quite have the range that tanks do, but it's close enough that he can challenge this. This base, I don't even think Dark is that committed to holding it. It's a nice place to fight if he can find an engagement, but it forces the issue. Clem is focusing on this base instead of his third or his fourth now. A Roach drop is coming in, and Burrow Move are about to complete, which makes them even more true to their name. Corrosive Bile scattered across the medevacs. Roaches scampering past into the third. The Natural is vulnerable. No defenses there. More Roaches coming up, almost pick off a siege tank. But Dark is in the Natural. Dark is in the third. And Dark has plenty back at home to defend as this becomes a more all-in attack. The Roaches and Ravagers. He sees the Tunneling Claws. But he sees an opportunity to exploit it. Meanwhile, the siege tanks fires off a volley, knocks out a tank, another one bruised, 18 more SCVs dead. He can't get through the depot wall, which kind of doesn't really make sense, but anyways. And Dark, whittling down Clem lost 19 more SCVs. Dark still hasn't lost this base, regenning the roaches underground, and GG! Dark takes game number 1. Wow. Dark fighting Clem on his own terms, never letting him get any of that early pressure. Clem was so high and mighty. Okay, let's tone it down. Clem was a bit impressed with himself in that early Reaper micro, and he thought he had a beat on what Dark was doing. And that's the first mistake. That Reaper saw how delayed the third was. Dark showed him all the queens. He showed him just one gas in the main, no lair. All right, he's just behind, okay? I get a Viking out, get Liberators, which are cheaper than Banshees. It means you can focus on more economy and building up your production. And then Dark comes and slaps him across the face with a Roach Queen all in typical Dark fashion. And I think Clem's going to be taking him a little more seriously now. He may be too used to fighting against Serral. Serral? Well, probably wouldn't have been delayed on his third that long, but do you think Serral would have followed that up with a massive queen drop into Ravager all-in? I don't. Alright. That is it's an entirely different game we're playing now. And Dark is the game master. The final boss, if you would. And that is, well, it's not just a hyped up nickname. The longer the series and the more figured out the opponent, the better Dark is at completely subverting your expectations. Which is why it's very interesting we're going into El Dorado for game number 2. Because this map is our most creative. It is, there is the mineral wall portion. You pretty much have to mine that out in order to access the southern part of the map, which we're already seeing Dark go for. Reapers can't get over there and deal with it unless they come through the front. Now, there are plenty of opportunities. There's also a mineral wall that only requires a single trip in the center, so you can kind of traverse throughout it. But there's multiple rock towers as well. It's a very different. This is the furthest by far from our standard sort of map. Inspired by Golden Wall, which I think a lot of spectators will agree was an entertaining map to watch. I mean, just look at the name and the layout here. It's not subtle. And also, the map maker put it in the description that said it was based on Golden Wall, so that really takes away the rest of the subtlety if it was there in the first place. The SCV knows about this. Well, Clem knows about this, and he's imparting that knowledge upon the SCV. I don't know why I'm anthropomorphizing individual units, but here we are. And then he's going to mine the... Oh, that's a smart pattern. I don't think I've ever seen that. Probably wasn't watching too closely, but scouting through, coming around, and now mining out the mineral wall in order to open up that lane. Now we still go through the early Reaper pressure. Clem. Well, then no opportunity to delay the third here. Third command center is on the way. So neither side going to have a delayed third. We're going to see... Well, I don't think Dark is going to do whatever he would have done on ley lines. This is just a different sort. A roach timing, yes. That is very much on the table. Mutas, maybe. Ultras, now we're just... Okay, now you're just naming units. Hellions on the way. No starport. Like the greediest possible version, only one gas is going to Rex. And the Reaper gets away again. So far, no losses yet. Just keeping the creep at bay. He's mining out the... I like this. Mining out the rest of this. So many times you get caught in a weird choke point. Just get rid of that mineral wall. You get those golden minerals as well. Nice and tasty. Imagine more chewy the blue minerals for the drones. What are you doing? What are you doing? Now stop right there, criminal scum! He tries to run by and the queens are not having it. Wow. Clem didn't throw the grenade to bounce the queens out of the way in time. I can very much believe he went for it, but the disrespect, he was likely going to lose a Hellion no matter what if he runs by, but he thinks it's worth it. And he correctly guessed that Dark did not go for early guess. He's not going to have speed links. He's right, but, come on. Roaches. We've reached the Sloaches phase. Just enough roaches to make those Hellions uncomfortable. He's got a grand total of 4 of them. But after the trauma inflicted in the previous game, Clem has taken those roaches very seriously. Okay, he's not putting a bunker down, which would be the most seriousness. But he brings the Hellions back home. One roach will be taking up residence at the watchtower. The others will just turn around. No reason to risk it. And this is a 3-2-1-1 out of Clem. 3 command centers, 2 barracks, a factory, and a starport with a reactor to rush out. Very Beyond-esque, his metaphorical father. Sort of build. Getting those double medevac Marines almost full at, wow. So the timing for the 2-base 2-1-1 back in the day was about 5:15. Clem is doing a 3-base version with Hellions and a similar strength about 20-30 seconds later. Builds have gotten so polished. Hellions gonna try to dart into the natural. A pretty obvious play, but there's not much in position to defend. He actually has to run away with everything. The queens are gathering. Overlord taken down. 1 Marine slaughtered. But 5 drones, and he actually gets out with 3 of the Hellions. But again, no combat shield. You really need that combat shield to be able to trade with the roaches. Queens and lings, doesn't matter too much, but the roaches, they do a pretty decent chunk of damage each hit. 1-1 on the way for both sides. Slight advantage for Dark on that. He's also going to have plenty of drones. He's at 69, which is a very nice economy to have this early on. Combat shield now completing. How did the Hellions get it again? Oh, they went all the way around. Meanwhile, the medevacs back and forth and back and forth. Looking for better options, but so far not finding them. Dark is pretty clearly angling for a big roach hammer. As right now he's building a bunch more overlords, which almost always indicates he's going to hold down the R key for a while behind that. Maybe a couple more drones to fill in his losses, but... there we go. And there we are. Hellions still working their way around. But there's really not that much space in between these bases. We kind of cut the map down to 1/3 of it down here. We're in the battle arena on the southern part of the map. Wow, he stabs. This is bait. He cancels it. He wants Clem to come. Well, he doesn't want him to come down there, but he's taking down the rocks. Will one of them go? Will one of them try to drop the rocks Indiana Jones style? They will. They do 500 damage on whatever they land on. So, most units, all units, will die to it. Even in Ultra. I think Ultra has exactly 500 HP. But it's actually remarkably hard to land it directly on a unit that can move because they kind of push them out of the way. With breaststroke, apparently. I don't know. Meanwhile, the siege tank says Clem tries to establish the gold base. Dark is up 30 supply. He's got a healthy helping of Ravagers. Healthy for the Zerg, at least. Clem knows what's coming, but Dark is maxed out at 8 minutes. He's got the upgrades. Clem tries to box out. Swerves to the low ground. Corrosive bile still raining down. The bio army actually getting thinned out. Dark not even trying to get to the siege tanks. Zerglings trickling through. Dark thinks this is still worth pursuing. The medevac's healing what bio units are left. Another wave coming through. He knocks down yet another siege tank, but it appears Clem's stutter step was good enough. And so far, Dark unable to break through. The brawl will continue. Queen's moving up, trying to help things out. Pick off one of the medevacs. If you want things done right, you gotta do it yourself, Susan. Oh, well, Brenda. Who else is going to provide anti-air? That's not really the point. It was a rhetorical question. Alright, The roaches. Clem, though, has retaken the supply lead. Or at least drawn it even, which is clearly not ideal for the Roach Ravager army. But there are a bunch of roaches looking to come in the front door here. He actually has some Ravagers on that north side. There's a triple tank setup. He could go for the double kill. And he gets it. And another tank as well. He's whittling down the tanks, but Dark is working off that gold base economy. And actually, he kills another tank. There's only 2 tanks left. You've got to be very careful. If you are left without a critical mass of siege tanks, the bio army against mass Ravager, it seems great right up until there are more corrosive biles than an unruly frat party raining down, and then it's almost impossible to dodge, no matter, like, even for Clem. But well, the medevacs and autumn colors, but it's not like Dark is anywhere close to climbing the tech tree any further. Another wave. The roach is coming through. He just gets on top of everything. The Zerglings on the tanks actually drawing fire. Clem not target firing the tanks very well to start. But we're trying to find a light at the end of the tunnel here for Dark, but it's just himself in it so far. 15 more roaches. Clem up 20 supply. He's got 2-2 done. He's already working on 3-3. Those medevacs pretty low on energy, but still doing well enough. In fact, he's building some liberators now in order to supplement. By the time you get to double-digit medevacs, that's a bit gratuitous. Tanks out on the field. The mid-game brawl continues. Clem the closest to progressing his tech with the 3-3 on the way, but nothing like ghosts, range liberators, nothing like that. The Queen's gonna take down another medevac. Corrosive Bow's forced to retreat. Queen's 2 or 3 medevacs in there. And Dark still just building the Roach Ravager. That's all he's got now. It's a do-or-die situation. A single Roach trying its best. The Roach Ravager coming in again. A couple tanks unsieged as Clem leapfrogs forward. Some Queens getting caught. Transfuses holding a lot of this together. Dark, his back is pushed up against this. Oh, the Roach is taking terrible, terrible damage. Oh, ow. Okay. Well, Clem just obliterates the roaches and turns it all around. A decisive victory there, even though it looked a little dicey to start. Clem is able to hold the line and leapfrog his way back across the map. And that ties us up 1-1. Dark, a very predictable strat. While it's very strong, Clem, I'm sure, knew where Dark wanted to go with that. That is the most common strategy on that map for Zerg, especially Dark, who is a massive Ravager enthusiast. I don't think I've ever seen any other player build Ravagers as much as Dark does. But we're going into Game 3 on Frostline. Now, definitely closer to our more standard sort of map. Closer to ley lines, where Dark was able to take it, but I don't think that was entirely... Well, the difference on many maps is a ramp to the natural. El Dorado is a complete exception, but a ramp to the natural makes it significantly easier to defend. King's Cove, Ultra Love, both have that ramp. Neon Violet Square as well, Abyssal Reef. That makes it... Not only do you have to have the units, but you have to have the vision in order to attack directly and reliably. So that's usually the limiting factor for early Ravager sort of all-ins. At least ones on 2 to 3 base. Obviously, it's not a complete shutdown. It's not like you can't bring an Overlord or something like that, but it's an extra complication, usually an extra choke point that makes things a little tighter. And you really can't have those sort of complications against someone like Clem. All right, Doc. What do you got? We already saw... Well, he's playing it like he plays against Maru. Or any other top Terran, which is just keep him guessing. Don't sit back and do the predictable Zerg thing. The best Zergs, with Serral being a very key exception, and what a big exception that is. Serral really should just be in another category, I think. But the best Zergs kind of play a little like Protoss. Well, not nowadays, I guess. But Protoss historically has always had another card to play. Like another kind of variation, if not entirely new strategy to bring out in each game of the series. Especially Protoss versus Zerg, but historically Protoss versus Terran, not so much anymore. But, and so far, Dark has done that. But here we go again. This whole deal. The reason he's bringing the SCV, because if you hold position, an extractor technically takes up more space than the gas geyser itself. So when you hold position a worker, that means it blocks. That's also why when you siege up your tanks too close, it can block. And why Clem is moving his SCV to try to get in position to block it. But Dark, of course, is aware of that. Couple Zerglings will not quite delay the command center. Micros the SCV around. And yes. No. Queen. Must have been the wind. The Queen will eventually make it back to the creep. And be in position to deal with it. The Zerglings hiding. From the Reaper. You're very silent. The Reaper can't hear you. I don't think that's true. But it makes me feel better. And the Zerglings sneak in. Couple links. Trying to... Wow. Drags the Hellions out of position. May be able to finish off that SCV and get a scout. Little details, but Dark taking advantage of it. He will get a scout on the starport timing, the third command center. He's not going to be surprised, but it's good to make what you assume into an actual fact. Because if for some reason Clem was going for multiple factories or barracks early, and he just assumed it was going to be a starport, you might just get run over. It's not always reliable to get an overlord in against someone who's paying close attention. It's going to be Banshees with Cloak. Back to the standard fare for Clem here, but a lair is... He's building 5 overlords, which seems a bit excessive. 5 overlords and a lair on the way. Oh my god, the bait. And the Zerglings pop out. He got bamboozled. The Zerglings will get a full wrap around. And the grenade, not enough to save the Hellions. Maybe get him another ling or two, but he rips them all apart. Nothing but scrap. And more Hellions running by. At this point, he might as well try to get a scout, but the Zerglings move in position. Did he see the gas? He didn't see the gas. And it's a nidus. Wait, where? Oh. A nidus is on the way. Oh, wow. And the drones go into the third? Not, I thought he was going to try to do like a big fake out, like surprise drones, but there is a cloak bait. This is going to get weird. Oh, yeah. It's going to get weird. There's going to be a effective nidus. I don't actually think he can stop it unless there's a Banshee at home. It really depends on where he decides to put the first one, because the Marines are in position. He sees the gas, which is not a tell. The Zerglings at the natural. All right, the alarm bells. Oh, but there are queens in the nidus. Is it going to finish? The Zerglings are already in the natural. The wall was not completed. The Banshee, it's in the orange. It's in the red. Oh, it's too late. It will burn, but the damage is already being done. The Zerglings are inside the base. Dark already has a worker lead, but that's not going to be enough. That second nidus, the Zerglings are boxing it. It's going to finish. It's going to finish. Weaver! Transfuse and save the day. The queens are battling it out. He forgot detection, but it's not that big of a deal. And look who's back. Back again. Brenda's back. And it's time for revenge. The bunker is completed, but is there anything to put in it? The Marines are trying to get to the bunker. The Zerglings are streaming through. And wait, the queens are in the main. Another nidus! The Marines can't get to either of the bunkers! The army is pretty much just queens at this point. I'm not sure if the game is just over or if Clem might stabilize, but the nidus rolls up. Wow! Ugh! A very French GG. I choose to believe it was just a... No, I choose to believe he was actually just saying ugh to this. But Dark takes the lead 2-1 with queens all up in Clem's base yet again. And he did not end. He gave him the information that would get him killed. Like, the Hellion got in, it didn't see this gas. He never saw the lair. And the way Dark was playing, he messed it so well that once again, fool me once. And some people say they can't get fooled again, but clearly Clem bamboozled for a second time. Dark takes the lead. He's done what Serral could not in a single series this year of 2020, at least since the World Cup, which is win more than one game in a series against Clem. So, we got a series on our hands indeed. Dark, well, even if you see it coming, doesn't mean you can stop it. The nidus and the main and the nat and the main again. Well, what really came undone was the Zerglings. The Zerglings getting into the net. If Clem was walled off and those Lings don't get in, it doesn't start spiraling out of control. Okay, he's able to hold the wall. He has Hadlians, he has SCVs to repair. He clears up the nidus in the main, and maybe Dark gets the nidus at the natural, but then he has to work on that. He has to break through the wall. He doesn't, at the very least, he doesn't end the game there. He might lose it, depending on how poorly it goes. But the Zerglings got in. That's the oldest rule of StarCraft. Not just StarCraft 2, ever since the war. You can't let the Zerglings in your base. But here we are. And of course, the Frenchmen should know the dangers of an overzealous monarchy, but again, some lessons have to be learned multiple times. What a series. I had very high hopes when I saw Clem versus Dark, and I still think they're exceeding. No matter how the rest of this series goes, I'm happy. Like and subscribe if you're anywhere close to that level of excitement. And if you're not, how did you make it this far? Or I'm not going to do the thing where I talk very loudly to wake them up, because then they might realize. So, as they say, talk softly and carry a big nidus one. Which does not talk softly, but, you know, I think that covers that. And the SCV. I like how Clem has completely flipped the Terran early game. And by early game, I mean literally the first SCV. Terrans, for years, beyond Maru, no SCV scout. Sit in your base, do your build, all perfectly mapped out. We got every mineral accounted for. Clem's like, you know, it'd be really annoying if I just kept blocking their third with an SCV. Because Clem, well, one, understands an opportunity, and two, realizes that even though you could take other third bases, it really sucks to, as Zerg. Like, there's a reason Dark would rather sit here and wait for a queen to, like, struggle through and generation of joint pain rather than take a different... Oh, no, 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 no! Okay, all right, the drone. Don't talk to me or my estranged son ever. This is a message from the Hatchery Owners Association. This is the third time you've been caught trespassing this series. And, oh. Brenda, did you get him? Shut up, Susan. But the Zerglings, speed is done in 4 seconds. The Zerglings may be able to finish what the Queen started. Yeah, they'll get him. All right, well, that was a whole saga. Meanwhile, the Overlord just kind of saw everything, so Dark has that going for him, which is nice. We got a Cloak Banshee on the way, some Hellions. The huge. Dark with no intents on getting critical damage done that early. He's only got the one gas, no roach warning. The Queen's still trying to zone out. The Zergling's chewing on the rocks, opening up more opportunities. Keep them busy. All right, idle hands, right? Layers now on the way, still pretty quick, but not exceedingly so. Overlord just wandering back in from the beaches again. As Clem ramps up that production. Well, fourth base, here we go again. Deja vu. Oh. Another drone gets picked off. Clem's so on top of it. Infuriating to deal with a Zerg. And it doesn't stop. Aliens. Whoa, Queen zoning out. Oh no. Where's the... Oh, it's a disaster! Oh, wait, how did you not expect Cloak Banshees? He scouted it. Did he think it was a bluff? The Overseer's so late. The Spore Crawler was literally non-existent. He's gonna get 9 kills. A dozen? The Banshee's still alive, by the way. Oh, this is a disaster. I'm not actually sure what Dark so like. Maybe he thought he saw it start and he thought Clem was faking Cloak, which is a very real thing. Like, most players will fake it until they make it, and in this case, he made it. No, yeah, well, he gets the Banshee, but 19... Wait, and we're not done. If he gets the second Banshee, I guess it's okay-ish, but... Oh, no, that is devastating. 20 kills. He's going to take some pot shots at the 4th hatch, and this is just now the 4th hatch. Like, Clem just landed his 3rd. He's actually got equal workers. He's a little ahead. His upgrades are a full minute quicker. Oh, did you wall off your siege tanks, Clem? One of us. One of us. Wait, okay, so the siege tank. Dun, 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 dun. Dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. This is why you map out your base. So a siege tank, if it pops out on this side, it has to go all the way around. The loop of shame. All right. An elite yet dangerous strategy. And now, well, the medevac is going to escort it the rest of the way because it can't be trusted with normal cartography. A strong attack timing coming up. He's going to have the triple threat. In this case, that's going to mean +1/+1 and stim. No combat shield. But this time around, Dark's playing Ling Bane. But he doesn't have Bane speed. He doesn't have upgrade. That 4th base. The difference between Clem dying to Queens and Clem getting economic damage done is blindingly stark. The siege tank trying to target the Banes, but Dark actually stays close enough. The Queens again have to deal with it. The Zerglings pulled off the line. Dark. Ooh. Well, Dark is down 8 workers. His 4th base is still in critical condition. He does have a 5th on the way down the center, and I have a sneaking suspicion that's about to become his 4th. His hive just started, so Dark is banking on surviving to hive now. He needs to live. It's not looking great. Well, Clem got a bunch of Marines, just a single tank. Stay in the trees. There's no, it's gone. Couple drones, just. Terran vision is based on movement. Stand very still. Oh. And now the siege tank gonna jam itself under here. He even finds a base. He's like, no, better spot. There's too many Marines back at home. There's already a 4th base landed. The siege tank is firing up to the high ground. There's plenty of medevacs. Here come the Banes. I don't know, is that enough? That might be. Oh my, Clem! Taking terrible, terrible damage to the Banelings. But Banelings can only attack once. And apparently only one Marine could attack from that angle, but Clem maintains a 30 supply lead. He's got... Dark has 12 Hydras on the way, but they're not there yet. If he could kill a couple medevacs, maybe. How many Banelings? Just 5 of them. It's not enough. The medevacs come back around, and he's tearing him apart. The Banshee's back! Remember me? The Queen's torn down, and Clem will tie things up. A incredible execution, but a very rough start. Dark, I'm still not sure. He had no spore crawlers. He either thought it was a fake outright, and he called a bluff that wasn't a bluff, or I don't know, like he thought he just mistimed it. But the Banshee should not have been getting damage like that done. That was an almost game-ending mistake at the time. But obviously you're not going to tap out of the game just because he killed some drones. You're just going to feel really bad and hope that he screws up his Marine tank attack. And he kind of did. But he didn't screw up the macro behind. That was the most Marines I've ever seen die to Bane. Well, at least in the recent past, I've ever seen Clem lose to that many Banelings. Only issue was, the reason they died is because he had twice as many ready to come across the map again, so... But Clem, showing what he can do with a small advantage. Well, that wasn't a small advantage. That was moderate to large, okay? Sizable. I'll let you imagine what that means. All right. I'm not here to judge. So now we're on Whispers of Gold, which is much more intimate than King's Cove in terms of size, while we're on that topic. It's a wide open map as well. Rush distance quite short. Another thing, main base very droppable. Main base is actually closer than the natural and the third for the most part. And if you let them give medevacs in the position, it can become very difficult. Same goes for dealing with Overlord drops or even mutas, but those hit a little bit later usually. So we'll see if Dark has a way of preempting that or if he just deals with it head on. And, you know, if this was Clem versus Serral, I'd already be talking about that late game, like where the Hydra's going to go, what do you do with Lurkers, Vipers, etc. But I have no guarantees in this series that the game will even get past, like, the Ravagers and Marines phase. So, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Now, which base does he think the Zerg wants to take more? Most Zergs do take the triangle base, but I don't think Dark will be too unhappy with the linear base. But here we go again. Oh no! Oh no, he got him! He trapped him in. Check and mate. Oh. That's what he was trying for each game so far, and he finally got it. Oh no. Dark is tilting like a pinball machine right now. Well, I am for him, but that is my feeling whenever that happened, right? And now, Clem has 3 bases on the way. Will this spur Dark? It's just a little late. Again, the Zergling time is just a little bit late. The Marine will dance around the SCVs as the boys. Oh my. That's just disrespectful. Okay, so what is Dark doing? He's pretending. Wait, no, he's not doing anything. He's building more queens. I guess he's just playing 2 base. Clem's like, excuse me, sir. Do you have anything? Okay, you got the Reaper. Ooh. Is that a Thor? Need to borrow. Ooh. He got hit by a train. Or it is the train? I'm not actually sure what. I'm gonna take a lot of minerals to repair. Layers on the way. Just a delayed third. Dark focused on getting more queens. This is going to weird Clem out the most, I think. Is Dark isn't doing anything crazy. Yeah, he might go for a nidus, but it isn't particularly quick. It could just be a delayed sort of macro play. Clem gonna go with the 2 racks yet again. That lair is... It's a nidus, isn't it? When in doubt. That roach horn is also suspiciously timed. He's got 3 gases. Aliens looking around. Layer's about complete. What card haven't we played yet? Technically Mutas. There's an armor. He's gonna do a hellbat push. Dark. What are you doing? He's got so much gas. I'm gonna make so many Ravagers. Yeah, but is that a thing? It is now. When Dark does it, it's not illegal. No matter what the clickbait thumbnail might say. I'm starting to think there are no laws governing this game. Or maybe too many laws. I don't... whichever one it is. Honestly, it feels like Dark is just... I mean, he's just sitting back. I'm obviously flummoxed here. He's just gonna build roaches. It's like a ZVZ build. Carapace is on the way. An interesting first choice as well. Here come the Hellbats. Alright, Stim is done. No upgrades otherwise. The Hellbats... Ooh, Dark Supply blocked. The Hellbats just burninating through the countryside. Takes out a queen. Thins out the Zerglings. The roaches are splitting back. The Hellbats are tanking so much damage. You can't really focus the Metavacs because the queens are needed for DPS. But the damage already done. He dropped me off. And now that droppable main... There's only 1 queen left. The damage is already done. That Hellbat got a couple kills. The Marines are actually just rallied across the map, which some freebies here. The best chance Dark has is a massive counterattack a minute ago, but now also works. That siege tank tucked in, Clem making the executive decision of retreating all the way to his natural. That is a very hard call to make, but I think it was the right one, because if he loses that tank, Dark might actually have enough roaches to run him over. That's crazy. Wow. The roaches are actually working. I think Clem caught a little off guard by Dark's just sort of slow play here. Carapace is done, which is the only upgrade on the field. Clem delayed his upgrades to get this sort of Hellbat push. There's Tunneling Claws on the way. 8th... What? Oh! My brain broke for a second, realizing Clem just floated his 3rd over to the other base. Which is kind of a weird move, but... Okay. I don't know if that's because the other base is more vulnerable to roaches, or he just was heading that direction anyways, but here we are, and the game will go on. It really felt like something was going to give early here, but Dark has made it up towards 70 drones, which for anyone else would be like 90 drones. He's going to have Tunneling Claws, which the moment Tunneling Claws is done, the roaches get their fancy shiny horn, so Clem will know that's in play. 1-1 isn't even done for Clem's arc. Whereas Dark does have it. Still a lot of Marines. He sees the Tunneling Claws. He's already slapping down turrets in key locations, I'm sure. But the Tunneling Claws are just maybe for healing. Like, you regen really quickly. I think it only takes like 30 seconds to go from 1 HP back to full. Yeah, very quick maybe less than that. So that is one way to pretend you have medevacs as Zerg, is tunneling claws for the roaches. There is, of course, the turret. He's got siege tanks. Oh, look at that spread. I can't believe it's not butter. Tunneling claws. Again, sharking through. He's slightly out of tank range. And those roaches giving vision of the army. Most of the bio. And the upgrade advantage will go to Dark. Forcing him to use these skins. Dark, no! The roach is getting caught out, but the corrosive bow is doing some damage. +2 carapace is about to complete the hive. So important. The hive. He didn't keep the roach burrowed underneath this base, so he's not going to be able to lay it. Unfortunately, Clem scans for the hive and may actually see it complete. If he's looking, indeed he'll see it. In fact, if he looks back at that main base, he's going to see the hive was done. But just seeing it on the way gives him all the info he needs. It's time to move out. He's got +2 attack on the way. He's got plenty of siege tanks. And he's got a lot of map that he needs to clear of creep. That siege tank count is looking mighty intimidating, but 2 Vipers can help thin it out. He desperately needs those Vipers, but right now Dark is feigning like he'll actually attack. He does not want to. He very much does not want to fight that. But he has to pretend like he does to keep the tanks back for long enough to get some blinding clouds, or maybe even abducts. He wants to fight before Clem's upgrades with blinding cloud. He needs both those things. Hydra speed is finishing. That hatchery is kind of important. Not as important as Viper energy, though. He has to give it up. Nanomuscular swell on the way. Army supply in favor of the Frenchmen. The Roach Ravager, the tanks. Where are the Vipers? At this point, there's no reason to fight here if you can't take a good one. The Vipers. Clem knows the Vipers are out there. Where are they? They're at the natural. They're actually kind of out of position for this. Oh no, I think Clem spotted them. And blinding cloud. Devastating. Oh, he missed the back line. Oh no. Even half of the... It's a disaster as Clem obliterates the roaches and hydras. You don't need very many tanks to do so in that scenario. That was the anti-timing. Right as +2-2 finished, he didn't get all the tanks. The fact that Dark was still in that game is already impressive. But well, it would have been more impressive if he turned it around. Well, that brings us to match point as the world champion reasserts himself. Another game where, well, let's be honest here. If Dark can't knock him out early, it looks like very difficult to contend with Clem's level of control. You need to hit him before he has so many tools, and he uses them better than you. All right? That is what we've seen throughout the entire year. The year of Clem. Maybe next year will be Hearthstone's, but this year is definitely Clem. Dark understands that, but he just wasn't able to rip him away that early. Like, even the first SCV. The first SCV! I need to have the right amount of frustration and, like disgruntled respect for what Clem is doing with the early game. Like, having one SCV and one Reaper completely throw the Zerg build into the gutter. Like, let alone killing anything. Just delaying the third base by a full minute. That's over a third of the game at that point. We're at the 3-minute mark. Okay, not 15. That's another half a dozen larvae it could be building, let alone any mining or creep spread. Clem has found a way to use the 2 most basic units that everyone has in the early game. Just better. Still, though. Dark, So Dark is a match for Clem because he's such a wild card. Raynor is a match because he's the only one who can keep up. Historically, Serral has been a match because he's just makes better decisions and more efficient ones than anyone else in the game. But that has not been enough. Clem has leveled up. Let's see if Dark can make magic happen a couple more times. But thank you again to Wardi for all the tournaments he puts on. I'll be looking to work with him on sponsoring and ideally some more creative tournaments, so that maybe different maps, or like banning mirror matchups somehow or something like that. That would probably just result in Clem winning again, but Reaper. SCV was pushed out of the way. He gets his third in almost the time he wanted to take it. How kind. Oh. Sorry, I'm just thinking. It hurts. I know. Painful. Kind of thinking, like, what can Dark do? What card hasn't he played? Like a Baneling bust or something, but... If Clem gets Marines and Medivacs, it just feels like you're on a timer then. His control is... He's doing the same style, except not even a starport yet. He's gonna have a whole bunch of Marines. Does he add tanks early? I think so. Oh. No. Maybe reactor. Just straight up 3, 2, 1, 1. Zergling's trying to come in again. Dark pumping out the drones. No Roach Warren yet. Indicating he's probably going to go for the Ling Bane style. Just takes down the supply depot. That's one way to do it. Gets SCV on the way out. But the Marine count will be spotted. In case it wasn't... Is that not a pervert pillar? That's unfortunate. It would have gotten taken down momentarily anyways, but... Not exactly ideal to start. Layers on the way. Baneling Nest. Sorry. Thank you. Baneling Nest. Evo Chambers. Clem's gonna have his 2 medevacs. Is he building 4 engineering base? How long do you think before he realizes that he just built 2 extra NG base? Now this is for high-sec auto-trekking and building armor. Obviously. What a mistake. That's 250 minerals you're not gonna get back, Clem. What a noob. Almost. You realize. Here come the medevacs. Drop it on the other side of the rocks. Speaking of, Dark taking some down. He spots it though. The queens are gathering. They must hold. Alright. Hold the line, Susan! Put Karen in front! What? Excuse me. I'll have you know I was in front last time. Karen, shut up. Shut up. That's enough. Sorry. Clem, working around. Not able to push back too much so far. 1-1 on the way. Darks is actually a little bit quicker. stutter stepping into the base. Clem not even moving. I mean, Dark not even moving his units down to try to defend it, as he knows Clem will have backed off by the time he does. It's going to be an octo-rags timing. Clem at 60 SCVs. He's not building anymore. He's going to pump out so many Marines and tanks. It's going to be up to Dark to figure out how to deal with it. He has Hydras on the way. He needs to take down the rocks in the center of the map. The Zerg rocks will die off at 8 minutes. Wait, Marines can hit that? Siege tanks certainly can, but he needs to take down the rocks. Maybe Clem will help him with the Zerg rocks here. But going all the way around the sides is not really an option. Infestation pit is on the way. Dark at 71 drones. Acceptable number. No, you gotta... So if he starts creep spreading, it'll actually stop the rocks from bleeding out. Which is kind of hilarious. Dark's creep spread is good enough to stop the rocks from dying, but not exactly the ideal scenario right now. He wants as much open space as possible. Tank push coming in, the double drop gonna be threatening the center line. Clem setting up the tanks quite far back, where the creep is already receding, and Dark is in the himself about him. Now here come the Hydras, the Lings, the Banes. One tank down. Tank target firing the Banes, but doesn't get a second shot. Those Hellbats at the watchtower are like, good luck, guys. Meanwhile, the Marines, there's only 2 Banes left, which is just target practice for Clem. The Hydras don't have speed. More Marines holding position at the gold. Another wave of Banes is morphing in, but there's no easy options here for Dark until he gets that hive complete. Looking to knock down some... Oh, no! The Queens actually get one of the medevacs, but knocks out one of them. Frenchman carving through the Queens. A revolutionary tactic. And now, the Marine count is so damn high. One more tank on the back line. Target fire on the Banes. Knocks out a couple more. Those Marines are not dying. 1-1. For both sides. Dark is holding. His hive is halfway done. The gold base is mining now. And he's got another base over to the 3 o'clock. But the tanks are repositioned. There's no way back there. Oh my god! Clem just shot the medevac with a tank in it out of the sky. That was the best case scenario for Dark. Is Clem misclicking his tank back. And now suddenly he can't actually attack into the goal. An own goal right as he's looking to cross the finish line. So now Dark, little does he know he has a chance. A absolutely massive counterattack, but the depots are raised. The hatchery will be taken down. Dark just giving that one up. The third base is overrun. 16 SCVs down. Clem down to 44. The hatchery could just be targeted. The Banelings are stuck behind the Queens. There's only one tank with this, but that's so many Marines. The upgrades even on both sides. Are there any Vipers? No. 100 Zerglings on the field. He's wrapping around with the reinforcing Zerglings. Comes in from the back. More Marines are taking out the northern base. Hydras close in. The medevac's trying to hold. And will actually pick up some extra Marines. Gets one knocked out of the sky. Another hatchery taken down. I don't believe there was a cancel. But Dark holds on to his gold base. It's painful. More drones. Oh no. 5, 6 drones dead. Overlords wandering in. Dark supply blocked. Trying to deal with this location. He's fighting the map as much as he's fighting Clem now. And if Clem has even a single tank, this location is almost untenable. I'm really surprised Dark didn't try to take down the rocks at some point. There's not really been a lot of time to do so. He's building one... He has 2 Vipers. No, you cannot consume that base. I guess it would just help Clem along. Creep spread has been beaten back. Clem technically has a 4th command center. Dark is going to be knocked back to 3 bases for now. The watchtower is claimed by the Marines, who will actually run the other way, knowing what's happening here. I don't know if Dark will realize this was spotted, but the Zerglings are streaming in. Does he have adrenal glands? No. The center base was taken out. The wall, he's chewing on it. The Zerglings are getting hunted by Marines on either side. Dark may be able to get away with the majority of them. But the Banes just can't close the distance, and just like that, Clem is maxed out. Oh my. He took out the center base, and with it, any semblance of an income lead for Dark. The Vipers are everything again. This is a better position than last game, but not by much. That is so many Marines. He's got 109 Marines. There are more Marines than Zerglings. Here are the Vipers, but the wave of red is marching over the map. And that is just so much Terran. There are lurkers on the way. 50 SCVs behind. Clem is only on 3 base, but so is Dark. And the Marines. Blinding Cloud forces some of them in. He uses some of that energy. Another Blinding Cloud. He just whips them out there. The lurkers are about to complete. He burrows down, but the Marines gun them down instantly. And GG! Clem will claim victory. What a match. Dark with 2 strong and surprisingly effective almost cheeses. But Clem asserting himself in every game that made it past that point. 100 Marine timing attack. Even during the end here, Dark had a massive counter. It was just a little bit too little and somewhat too late. What a series. I think Dark getting closer than Serral in many cases, but Clem still showing complete dominance over the Terran versus Zerg matchup. Well, congratulations to the Frenchman yet again. And a great showing by the guy who we're hoping never retires but has been threatening to, or has been implied for the last 6 months. And I look forward to more. Thank you again to Wardi, and thank you to you for watching. If you got the means and motivation, be awesome, check out Patreon or YouTube membership. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free, at least for now. So thank you for watching. I hope I made your day just a little bit better. Good luck, have fun. I'll see you next time. Stay chill.